everyone, welcome to the As I Look Out My Window additional video posts. I wanted to talk today about being a researcher and what that means, and I guess, just being a researcher, because it's not even specific to being a graduate student or someone doing graduate research or dissertation research or anything like that. So, the whole process of being a researcher and working on an idea is so much more detailed and big, I think, than a lot of people talk about, especially when it comes down to, say, the finished product, the research report, the book, the dissertation, the thesis, any of those finished things. There's an acknowledgement section in the beginning of it, and it says thank you to all these people who helped me through this, but that stack of papers, the finished part, is more like a summary than it is a detailed account of the process that went into authoring it and to creating it, because at the end of the day, that is really what it is you're creating another piece of knowledge that contributes to the knowledge that we all have. And I just felt like talking about that today, because I don't think a lot of people that I interact with know the type of work that goes into the projects that I take on. So today I have walked, according to my Fitbit, 13,615 steps, 6 miles, as part of today's engagement with my research project in Dakar. I initially went to WARC to meet with the public relations officer to try to place some more phone calls to organizations. I am still trying to schedule meetings. And then she got a hold of a particular organization here that is research focused, and it's called CODISRIA. It's an abbreviation, and it's near the university here in Dakar, and they said I could just come by whenever. So I walked from WARC and took the long way, because I didn't know I could take a shortcut through the university to get to this organization. All the way around, got to the organization, got to meet a few people, it was really nice, and they have a library. So tomorrow I'm going to their library for the better part of the day to read the materials that they have there, because they publish a lot of things about gender issues, and specifically gender issues in Africa and in Senegal, is what I'm hoping. Something that I may have updated about previously, or I may not have, is the fact that I'm still really struggling to find texts that are specifically about what I'm talking about, which is women's issues in Senegal, and of course then women's issues in Germany, and weaving it all together at the end. But I've been struggling to find a lot of research about women's issues in Senegal. So every time I find something that I think might be related, I save a PDF to my laptop, which I'm filming from now, and then I save a citation to a program called EndNote, because at the end of this project, I have to have citations for everything that I quote. So right now, my EndNote queue has a little folder for dissertation research. The folder contains 51 citations as of today, and I added 3, I think, this afternoon. And all of those correspond to something I've either read, which is a handful, or items that I need to read or that I will be requesting from KU libraries when I return to Lawrence. So that's kind of part of what I do, is as I'm reading, I'm looking for things that will further my literature view and how I'm informing what I talk about and the arguments that I'm making. Because that's the whole point. You have to read things that relate to your topic and then build it into a framework for why you're talking about the topic in a specific way. And so today I spent time in the computer lab instead of the library at WARC, because I've read through most of the materials there that I think I was going to get through in the African Studies section of the library. And so I started on the materials that I've been gathering with the help of an African Studies research librarian at KU His name is Musa. He's awesome. Over the past, 6 months, 6 months, maybe a little bit more. So I started reading through some of them, and as I'm reading, I'm doing this whole process that I learned about in my research group, where I'm highlighting something that I think is interesting or that I think is important, and then later I will go back to it, and if I still think it's important to my research, I'm going to copy and paste it into another document. It's going to be a part of my coding process when I start writing. But as I was going through these documents, I was realizing the sheer amount of reading that I've already done to get to this point, and how much more reading I'm going to have to do in order to make the argument work between now, when I get back home, and then when I start drafting and submitting chapters by the end of the spring. And as I'm reading, I'm looking for these really specific keywords and phrases that will relate to my topic, or that I think might be helpful to build my argument, because I'm not throwing things out if I don't think they're directly related. And that's also part of this process of reading and compiling research, is not always being completely certain of what is pertinent to the argument, and highlighting things that might work that aren't too far out in left field, and then also making sure that I'm keeping track of things that I definitely think will play into how I create my argument. And then, of course, at the end of all of these articles that I received from the African Studies Research Librarian at KU, I'm going through and doing something called Tracing the Conversation. So I am reading the citations that this person whose article I'm reading cited, and seeing if any of the titles of those articles look like something that I need to read. Then I go and try to find the articles or the books, and right now, if it's a book, I'm adding it to an e-shelf through KU Libraries in my account there. And the week before I go back to KU from Berlin, I'm going to request them all from the library. So I'm going to have a stack of probably 20 books waiting for me at the library when I get back. And I'm saying all this to say, because we all have things that we're passionate about and that we're committed to, and I don't think that we, and especially I'm not sure I always pay attention to how much work I put into things, like that I put into my research, basically. And I don't value it enough, I think, as a person. 6 miles of walking, starting in on a stack of 50 articles that I have not read through yet, highlighting, tracing the conversation, adding that all into my tiny head, and hoping that I remember some of it when I go back and reread it here in about a month. And just recognizing that when people do research, you have to be completely committed to this idea. Even if it's not fully formed, like in my case, I have an idea of what I think is there and what I think I want to say, but I'm still building. And it's been kind of hard to have faith in the idea that it will come together at the end, because I'm such a perfectionist. I want to know all the answers right now, and you cannot do that in research, which is kind of funny, because that's basically what I want to do with my life, is spend my life doing something that allows me to be a perfectionist, but then also works back against me as a perfectionist, because I can't always have all the answers I want right at the outset, and I have to build the answers myself. So today I was reflecting as I was walking back to my apartment from WARP, which is about a 20-minute walk. I was reflecting on the level of commitment that it takes to do this type of research, and appreciating my ability to continue forward and to keep trying, and also reflecting on and being thankful for the people who support me in that endeavor when there are self-doubts, when I'm not quite sure how to figure something out in my head and I talk it out with someone else, the people who send me references when I need it. But as I was walking home, I decided that I wanted to talk about that in a video about why I think the dedication of the research process and kind of the little minute details of all the little stuff that we do and that I do is really important in recognizing that work and being proud of that work, even though I'm not at the finished product yet. So this is my record of me trying to be appreciative of the amount of work that this project is going to take to get it off the ground and to make it into something awesome. So I hope you all enjoyed this 11-minute discussion of research and what it means to me, and I hope you all have a wonderful, happy Hump Day Wednesday, because it's a great day of the week. Look out my window. I'll see you all later.